The Nuggets and Clippers are tied 1-1 in the first round of the NBA playoffs, but does Nikola Jokic need to become more aggressive? He's averaging a triple-double right now, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. The numbers are good, but it does feel a little bit like he's not being fully aggressive. I've got the DNVR Nuggets crew here, our Serbian correspondent, Miroslav, the man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind. So that's the question, Wind. When you watch this, do you feel like Jokic is not being as aggressive as he needs to be?
I mean, I hate to doubt Jokic in anything in life or on basketball. I think yes, though. I think the answer is yes, and I think it has more to do with the team that's around him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nuggets just don't have as much firepower offensively this year compared to the championship season, obviously, but even last year. And you look at like the Nuggets as a team, they scored 102 points in game 2. Like, you got to play such good defense to win a game only scoring 102 points. I know it's the playoffs. I know things slow down, but like, can they play good enough defense to only score 102 points and win? I don't know. I think where Jokic could be more aggressive is actually from 3.
I was actually thinking about it because you're right.
He turns down a lot of threes, and I know he likes to work the possession, and I know he likes to work the clock and get a great shot. But a great shot is a Jokic 3, is it not?
I feel like the Nuggets have made it a point of emphasis not to use Joker too much in these first 2 games, which is kind of weird comparing to what they've been doing all season under Michael Malone.
All decade,
really. Yeah, but especially like last couple of seasons. So I think it's kind of a team decision as well. But on the other hand, I agree about the 3-pointer. Like the Clippers are doing everything they can to take everything away except the 3-pointer, I guess. Zubac is doing a good job actually scaring Nikola away from the 3-point line too. Like, it's not like he's
doing a great job with everything.
Free there. But yeah, I believe Nikola should be more aggressive. I would love for him to take that shot instead of making that last turnover he had in like second to last possession.
I mean, I think there's something to this. Here's the 2 things I'm going to say. The series is 1-1, and they both have come down to the wire. It's 2 games in, and I do think that both teams are in the feel-out portion. I mean, we always joke, Jokic is not going up against the other team. He's going up against the other coach. And I think there's a level of experimenting and testing the perimeters here, and I agree. I think there were a few moments Jokic could have and probably should have been more aggressive in game 2. Even in game 1, I think you could have made that case. But you mentioned because of the teammates, that's why he needs to be more aggressive. But it's also, in my opinion, why it's hard to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
The Nuggets right now are playing a lot of minutes with 2 complete non-shooters on the court. Russell Westbrook, who will knock down a corner 3 if he's open, but
nobody's going to guard him.
And even if he makes them, they're not going to guard him. Yeah. And then even Christian Brown, who's not a volume scorer, and Denver's trying to cut. Their spacing has not been good. And on the play you're talking about, this one is so near and dear to me because it's the 4th quarter. It's the final 2 minutes of the game. Might have been final minute. And Jokic gets the ball on the left block. He posts up and he's looking across, so he sees the spacing. Christian Brown in the corner, Russell Westbrook on the wing. Now, ironically, Westbrook is good from the corners, Christian Brown from the wing, and they're in opposite spots. So they're already weak shooters and they're in each other's spot, so to speak. And as Jokic spins, this is how Jokic maps the court. He says, okay, that's where everybody is. I'm going to spin and go in, and one of these 2 guys is open, and I'm going to jump and make the read. But right as he spins, Christian Brown cuts into Westbrook's spot, and all of a sudden he spins and he jumps and he looks and he sees 2 guys standing right where Kawhi's standing, and he ends up throwing it away. To me, Denver has to space the court perfectly. You can get away with poor spacing with good shooters. You cannot with bad ones. And Denver right now they're a new team. They're new rotations. They're just not spacing the court as well for him, in my opinion, to be as aggressive as he needs to be.
Yeah. And that's why I don't necessarily know if he can be more aggressive, like in the post or on the block, because that's what I think most people will naturally think of. Oh, just get him some more post-ups. They got him a lot of post-ups. The Clippers are double, triple teaming on his first move, and they've been really good at it.
Yeah.
They have the high IQ, long defenders to do that. And so that's why I said, more aggressive from 3. Maybe they can get some more spacing if Michael Porter Jr. has a revival in this series. I don't know with this injury, though, because if he can play 40 minutes, that's your best shooter, that's your best floor spacer. I feel like naturally that might open some more things up.
I also, I'm wondering whether they could use Joker more off ball and try to free him up that way, because he is quicker than Zubac. So he might be able to use that against him and like free himself up, be like a spacer for another duo's pick and roll.
And you know who that reminds me of is Rudy Gobert. This is exactly what happened last year against the Timberwolves in games 3, 4, and 5. Jokic got on the move a little bit more. They got the ball out of his hands, would have him set flare screens and slip or curl, and he's really good at it. He even has drawn some fouls in this series doing that exact thing. So I think you're right. But to me, if Jokic goes this entire series with the level of aggression he is, I will think he's below the threshold by about 10 or 15%. It needs to go up about that much. But I also think I understand why. This is a new team. They are 4 games into a new era with a new coach, new philosophies, and new rotations. And I think the team is trying to figure out who goes where. That cut by Christian Braun was such an interesting one to me because it was somebody trying to do something when they didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. The right thing was to space, and he tried to cut and make a play and ended up screwing things up. I think those things are correctable, and I also think Denver is going to try to put him in position to know better, hey, this is a you attack possession.
Yeah. I think putting him on the move is a great idea, and we also know that throughout a series, Nikola Jokic figures out the defense, and by the end of the series, usually masters it.
This is going to be a challenge on that, though. This team is versatile enough to make it constantly evolving.
And their Clippers are smart. They're well coached. They have a ton of length. And just all those guys are really like high IQ, experienced defenders. So it is going to be a really tall task. And also it's going to be tough because just the personnel he has to work with is more limited than it's ever been over the last couple of years. So I think eventually Jokic figures out, whatever the Clippers scheme is, but does the rest of the team? Yeah. That's probably the question.
And even David Edelman mentioned the versatility of Clippers roster, and he kind of sounded like he has envy of that roster because he knows he doesn't have as many guys as those guys do.
Yeah. That's really the question here is that Denver doesn't have a lot of options to go through. Yeah. You have your starting five.
Margin of error.
You have Russell Westbrook off the bench, and so that makes 6 players that you could make combos of 5. You start to go to Peyton Watson. Well, he's not a great shooter. He's also not a great cutter. So now you really lose the spacing, even if you had defense. And then with Jalen Pickett, he's so small. Now, I will say this, whether it's Pickett or perhaps even Julian Strawther, which would be at this point would feel like a wild move. Denver, I think, can mitigate it by taking a page out of the Clippers book. The Clippers are using Chris Dunn as a free safety blitz. He is not guarding anyone. He is just mucking everything up. And Denver is having a hard time because Denver doesn't want Christian Braun and Russell Westbrook to take 12 threes a game, even if that's the right play. And I think Denver right now, it is a travesty that Chris Dunn took 1 shot in the 4th quarter of that game. Just 1. They got away with a guy who didn't want to shoot, and they never put him in position where he had to. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard, who didn't miss shots all night, is getting one-on-one coverage. I think that is as much of a story. Yes, Jokic needs to be more aggressive. And if Denver never figures this out, he's going to have to find ways to be more aggressive. But if one team right now is being punished for having a non-shooter on the court and the other one's not, and Denver, I think, has to balance that.
Yeah. It's a tough task for Adelman, too. I mean, this is his first go-around in the playoffs. And, everything was pretty smooth. End of the regular season, they won the first playoff game. Now they took an L. So, now it's on him. Yeah. It's really on the Nuggets coaching staff and Jokic, who I just say is part of the coaching staff now. He's pretty much like another coach. It's on them now to make the adjustment. The Clippers have made their adjustment after they lost game 1. They played great. They had a really great game plan in game 2. Like now it's on Denver.
Well, I'll tell you the easiest way. We just talked about better spacing. Is there different personnel you can throw out? Those things are actually the second biggest thing that I think will make it easier for Jokic. The first biggest thing is Jamal Murray.
Right.
He's been good. It's not that he's been bad, but he hasn't been the impact player in the 2-man game that they need him to be. And I think he was a little sick. You guys were at the arena last night. He's wearing a baggy shirt. He looked like a guy that was dealing with some kind of illness. They need
Does a
him.
Baggy shirt help you with an illness?
Sometimes when you're sick, you get cold. So you need to have an extra little layer or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe that's what I don't know. But I'm just saying Jamal Murray right now has been good, not great. And they're not going to win this series without a second great player, at least in some matchups. And I think that if he is more aggressive, if Jamal Murray is more aggressive and more successful, it'll be significantly easier for Jokic to be more aggressive and more successful.
I agree with that because the Clippers do have 2 great players in this series.
100%.
And Kawhi Leonard, you can even say, has been even better than Joker so far. So,
well, hold on a second. The only thing I'm going to push back on this is who is the best Clipper in game 1?
James Harden.
So you're saying he's been the better player in the series, and yet one game he wasn't even the best player on his own team. And so I'm almost pushing back in defense of Jokic here, but this is the point I have about Jamal.
Yeah.
It would be great if the Clippers were worried about Jamal.
Like,
the same
can
way
Jamal Murray be the best player in one game this series?
Denver's concerned about James Harden. They got to stop Kawhi Leonard, but they can't do it at the expense of Harden. I don't know if the Clippers feel that same compromise.
Yes, the pick and roll hasn't been just lethal as we are used to, and it is something they need to figure out. And I agree, it's mostly just Jamal needs to be amazing.
And by the way, he was amazing in pockets of both fourth quarters, and that's where Denver came back and tied and took a lead. So I think it's right there. Jokic probably does have to find a way to be more aggressive in the series, and I think he will. I don't think the series will echo every single game. Especially if they get behind in a series, I fully expect Jokic to press the envelope, and I expect him to find success. I don't think he can win the series on his own, and I think that's what these first two games were about. Where can we find something so it's not just on me going off every night? Where are our advantages? I think they have found the problems. Game 3 will be about whether or not they have the solutions. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let us know, do you think Jokic needs to be more aggressive? Does he need to take more threes? Is it all on Jokic, or is there something the team can do to put him in position to be a little bit better? Let us know. We always love hearing from you. Hit that like button.